I've played about 3.5 hours of Jedi Fallen Order, and for a father of a 19-month-old daughter, that's more single-player gaming I've done since she was born. And since sitting down to play a video game all by my lonesome is a rarity nowadays, I have to say, I can't think of a better game to spend that rare time in. This is easily the most cinematic Star Wars game. The score, man, the score is brilliant. Cal's theme, it's triumphant, heroic. It could be the main theme for a superhero do-gooder. The music in this game, man, it just raises the bar. It flavors what you are seeing and what you are playing. I can't say enough good things about the music in this game. I have been completely blown away by it. You are Cal Kestis, a Padawan who survived the Clone Wars and the fall of the Jedi Order. The beginning of the game is a nice hidden tutorial. A lot of parkour mechanics as you run through the shipyard, moving from spot to spot. The exploration in this game was a pleasant surprise. And I'm not just talking about the parkour mechanics. Those are just flat out fun. I'm talking about the ability to move from planet to planet. You know, occasionally have to backtrack when you learn things. Jedi Fallen Order is not as linear as I originally thought it would be. Yes, they're telling a main narrative. Sure, there is a kind of linear path you can go down, but there's also branches to this tree. I mentioned the parkour mechanics. The jumping, the climbing, the wall running, all that stuff plays a major role in this game. You do it more than combat. You have to solve puzzles, you have to figure out how to get from platform to platform, and it feels good. You know how sometimes a game just feels good? It's an inexplicable feeling. It's not like you're physically moving anything on the screen, but the controls, it just feels nice to leap from platform to platform. And it's a blast to do. If you like games like Uncharted, even if you're not a Star Wars fan, I think there's something for you here. I think you would have a good time. The combat in the game is precise. I think that's the best way to define it. Precise. Precision is key. Accuracy is key. Locking onto enemies is key. Blocking is key. It's strategic. It's not hack and slash. This isn't The Force Unleashed, as much as I had fun with that. This is more focused. This is more strategic. You have to parry, you have to block, you have to send blaster bolts back in the direction that they came. You have to roll, you have to jump. There's so much involved in just simple combat that you encounter throughout the game. I found creatures to be incredibly difficult in the game, more so than stormtroopers. Stormtroopers, you know, unless they're a special unit, they're relatively easy to cut through like butter. But the creatures often have wildly different attacks from one another. They're difficult to predict. They move quick. But overall, the combat is insanely satisfying. When you come across a group of stormtroopers and you look down at them and you have to figure out how you're going to take them out, when you successfully accomplish that, it's a good feeling because the combat is definitely trial and error. At least it was for me. It took me a while, and let's face it, I still haven't got the hang of it. I still have a ways to go. I'm still extremely clunky with it. But it took me a while to kind of get the mechanics down, to make them second nature in a way, because once you understand the buttons, once you understand kind of the strategy involved with going after individual units in a group of units, then it becomes not necessarily easier, but it becomes more manageable. It's a very difficult game. More difficult than I was anticipating. I've died a lot in this game. Maybe I'm just horrible, but I've died quite a bit already. And a lot of that is because I miss time jumps and I fall to my death. But there's a good amount of it that's from combat. And it's not one of those cases where it's so difficult that it becomes frustrating and you don't want to play anymore. I mean, we've probably all played those types of games before. It's not like that at all. It's just a pattern of trial and error. I mentioned it being a very difficult game. I think it is. One thing that makes it even more difficult is the save points, the meditation points. As you're playing, there's glowing circles on the ground that you go up to, you meditate, that's a save point. You can use skill points, you can refresh BD1's heals, and ultimately it saves the game. The further you get in the game, the longer it seems you go without seeing one of those meditation save points. And when you get to one of those save points, it's such a relief, because you just ran through a ton of map, killed a ton of enemies, wrestled with a ton of creatures, and you get to sit down, you get to meditate, you get to save your game. Because if you die before you hit that meditation, you start back at the last meditation circle, which might have been a little bit ago. I like the challenge of it. It can be frustrating at times. Yes, it can be, because you're so close to one of those meditation points. You know one's right around the corner and then you die. You start all the way back where you came from. When it comes to the skill tree, I'm not familiar with everything that's going to be popping up in the future as I progress through the game, but what I've seen so far, there's kind of passive skill boosts like increasing Cal's health, or lightsaber technique skill tree, or force skill tree. Pretty self-explanatory, and I'm excited to see what kind of customization there is further on in the game. Obviously, there's a ton of things to unlock, because as I've gone through some of these planets, there's passageways that, obviously require maybe force push or something like that I'm gonna have to come back to once I unlock those skills. A little bit for the completionists, I suppose. I don't know if it's going to be a necessity to come back to some of these planets, or like I said, it's for the completionists. Either way, it's fun that there's kind of hidden secrets that you can't get to in the places that you are, that you might be able to get to later. So far, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is slowly but surely becoming my favorite Star Wars game. It's telling an interesting narrative. It's incredibly well done. The music, it's adventurous. There's so much exploration. The combat is precise. It's focused. It's fun. It does feel like you're on this grand adventure. You're on this mystery hunt. You don't know what's around the corner. You're exploring the Star Wars galaxy, trying to unlock the secrets of the Jedi, trying to bring back a new generation of Jedi. And like I said at the beginning of this video, I've only played about 3.5 hours of the game. I have no idea how long the game is. I'm not checking the comment section of this video because A, I don't want to know how long it is, and B, I don't want to be spoiled. I've basically turned off all notifications to everything. There's a lot of Star Wars coming down the pike to be spoiled. So tread lightly, be cautious. If you were hesitant about getting this game, listen to some reviews, listen to people talk about it, make up your own mind, but damn, I haven't heard anybody else's opinion, but I would be very surprised if the general consensus wasn't overwhelmingly positive. Anyway, it's time to get some sleep and wake up at 4 in the morning to watch The Mandalorian. HelloGreedo, out.